Hello and welcome. So today it is all about designer fragrances. Today I have 20 fragrances to share with you, and I am so excited because these are fragrances that I consider to be the very best of designer fragrances specific for the seasons of like fall, winter, and the opening of spring. Some of these fragrances will carry you throughout the entire year, but for me, they are all best suited for the seasons of fall, winter, and the opening of spring. As I go along, I'm going to share with you a little bit of information, but I'm not going to go in depth because number one, I've already done complete detailed reviews of these fragrances here on the channel, and I don't want this video to be very long. In addition, I do want you to know that I limited myself, which was quite hard, to pick one fragrance by designer. I think there's just maybe one designer that I just could not decide between two fragrances, so I decided to include them both. But for the most part, I'm only sharing one fragrance by designer. But let's go ahead and jump right in because we have quite a bit to cover. If this is your first time here, I'm Arahi and I'm your fragrance concierge because I'm totally committed to creating the best fragrance experience for you. I upload videos multiple times a week, and on this channel, we love to talk about all types of fragrances. So if that sounds like the type of content that you're interested in and like a good plan, then please consider subscribing, give this video a thumbs up, and don't forget, leave a comment. Let's go, fam. All right, so the first fragrance that I want to share with you is from Lancome, and this one is La Nuit Tresor La Parfum. Now, this fragrance is, when I tell you, perfection for cooler weather. This is not a fragrance that I would pull at all during a very warm or hot summer date for sure. This is a fragrance that opens with a very nicely done note of blackcurrant. There's a floral presence here, which is clearly led by rose. I do pick up on other florals, but primarily the one that you're really going to pick up on is that note of rose. But what makes this fragrance so special is that it also has a very present note of cacao. And that cacao is not bitter, it's like sweet, but it is so smooth and nicely done. There is nothing screechy about this fragrance, but I will tell you, this is a powerhouse. This one is one that borders on beast on my skin, and it gets me well over the 8-hour mark. This is also a fragrance that you do not want to overspray because it will choke you and others. But for cooler weather, I think this is absolute perfection. The next fragrance that I want to share with you is from Versace, and this one is Crystal Noir the Parfum. And here is the beautiful bottle. Now, this is a fragrance that I did review here on the channel quite a while ago. And I have to tell you that from the first sniff, I fell in love with this fragrance. But what really impressed me was its exceptional performance because this is full on beast mode. But in addition to that, what I also love about it is that it is a very sexy scent. This is not the type of fragrance that I would recommend like to go to the office or to go work out or for even a casual occasion. To me, this is more of a fragrance for special occasions, not necessarily formal, but let's say a casual date night or an event that starts towards the end of the afternoon, because to me, this is truly a sexy beast kind of fragrance. Let us know if you've tried Crystal Noir the Parfum because I know many of you picked it up. The next one that I want to share with you is from Carolina Herrera, and this one is Iris Empire. And look at this gorgeous bottle. So Iris Empire is one that I absolutely love, obviously, because I am a purple florals lover, and Iris and Violet are definitely at the top of my list. But this fragrance for cooler weather, this is a fragrance that is quite warm, spicy. Immediately, you're going to pick up on that iris, and the opening to start with is powdery immediately. It will only get more and more powdery, and At the dry down, you have a fragrance that is quite powdery. It is ambery. It is a little bit sweet, not very sweet, has a present note of leather, by the way, but the leather is very smooth. It's not overpowering, but it is definitely present. And the fragrance has the most beautiful woody notes on a backdrop of like also some chocolate. I can't explain, but the chocolate here is not a bitter chocolate. It's not a milk chocolate. It is a dark chocolate, but not very dark or bitter whatsoever. But it is definitely present in that dried down scent and throughout the wear of the fragrance. Truly an exceptional fragrance that will get you through cooler weather. So the next fragrance that I have for you is from Givenchy, and this one is l'Interdit Absolu. Now here is the gorgeous bottle. Now this is a fragrance that from the beginning, I knew that at least I had to try it, because the perfumer behind it is no other than Dominique Ropion. And you know that he is my favorite perfumer. But in addition to that, we also have Anne Filippo, which you know, I'm always mentioning Anne Filippo here on the channel because I just love how she develops her fragrances. The thing about this one is that as soon as you sniff it, it's going to give you like date night vibes. This is not a fragrance that I would wear to the office because to me, this is a bit of a sexy beast. It is dark. It is not dense. It's a bit airy, but not freshy at all. It has a certain degree of denseness to it, but not very much. It is sweet. It has a floral presence where the lead is like the lavender, followed by some white florals where I clearly pick up on like a bit of tuberose and jasmine. At that, the fragrance also has a touch of booziness with a very smoothly done note of tobacco. Then to add character and oomph, you also have the note of patchouli, and that patchouli at the dry down gives the fragrance like a creamy kind of effect. But when I tell you that this is an incredible scent that is also going to get you a ton of compliments, but is perfection for cooler weather, this is for sure not a fragrance that I would pull during a warm spring day nor a hot summer day for sure, because it will choke you and all of those around you. Let us know if you've tried l'Interdit Absolu. So this next fragrance is from Giorgio Armani, the Prive line. And this is a fragrance that I absolutely love. But this is the one brand that I did, well, I think there's a couple of them, but this is for sure one of the brands where I had to select two fragrances because I couldn't pick between this one and another one that will come later. But in the meantime, let's go ahead and talk about Vert Malachite. And here is the gorgeous bottle. So this is a fragrance that, you know, I was in the Doha airport in Qatar several years ago, and I went to look specifically for Rouge Malachite because, you know, it was all the sensation and I wanted to sniff it and absolutely pick it up. But they did not have the Rouge, but they had the Vert. And I decided, oh, well, let me just go ahead and sniff around. But as soon as I sniffed Vert Malachite, I just knew it had to be mine because when I tell you this is incredible, oh, this is such a beautiful mix of white and yellow florals. But the one floral for me that takes the lead here is definitely the note of Lang Lang. And in addition to that, you're going to find the note of Petit Grain. There's some spicy notes. There's quite a bit of vanilla here. But this fragrance is really about the white florals. But interestingly enough, for me, this is a fragrance that will work very well all year round. Not just for cooler weather. This is definitely one of those that you can make your signature scent and wear it all throughout the year because it is truly exceptional. Let us know if you've tried Vert Malachite. So when it comes to Tom Ford, there are so many fragrances that I wanted to pick and add to this lineup, and I narrowed it down to 5. And I knew that I just could not bring 5 fragrances to you. So I forced myself to pick what I think to be the very best fit for a very cool weather day, right? Whether it's opening of spring, fall, and winter. And that one would be Noir de Noir. And here is the gorgeous bottle. I absolutely love this bottle design. This is a fragrance that is very woody, but the thing about that woodiness is that it comes across as earthy. In addition to that, within that earthy accord, you're going to find a very present rose note. That rose is not a jammy rose, but it is definitely not a fresh bloom rose. And that rose even has a hint of sweetness to it. The fragrance is sweet, has quite a bit of vanilla. It also has a very present note of patchouli. The patchouli gives the fragrance a certain degree of creaminess and is responsible for part of that earthy that I'm telling you you're going to pick up on all throughout the wear of the fragrance. But at that, it also has a touch of a balsamic quality. This is absolute perfection for cooler weather, and it is a fragrance that does perform very, very well because it will give you a full day wear. It does have a strong projection and a moderate sillage, but this is one that you could make your signature scent, but definitely not one that I would wear like for an occasion where I know I'm going to perspire, like to go to the gym or Pilates or anything like that. No, this is more of a fragrance for all occasions, except for those times where you know you're going to perspire because it may be a bit much. But other than that, this is absolute perfection and my top pick when it comes to Tom Ford for fall, winter, and opening of spring. So many of us are very, very familiar when it comes to the Marc Jacobs Perfect line. And while I own several of them, I knew that I could only pick one to bring to you today. And without a shadow of a doubt and without having to think much or put myself through a lot of pain, I picked Perfect Absolute. And look at this gorgeous, gorgeous bottle. So I have a review of this fragrance here on the channel where I also compare it to the other flankers within the Perfect line, right? But the thing about this one is this is an incredible scent, but it is all about the note of fig, a ton of vanilla, a good bit of caramel, and a touch of jasmine. But at the end of the day, this one to me is all about the note of fig combined with that jasmine that we find in just about every flanker within this collection. But to me, this is the very best. There is a level of darkness and denseness to this fragrance that I absolutely love, and which evokes that perfect feel for a cool or cold weather day. Because to me, this is perfect for the fall, for the winter, and opening of spring. This is definitely not a fragrance for a very, very hot summer day. You could get away with it, but I just think that it's best suited for cooler weather. Let us know if you've tried Perfect Absolute from Marc Jacobs. So next we're going to talk about Jean Paul Gaultier. And there are several collections that I had to include in this lineup because they are truly exceptional fragrances. But let's talk about the Scandal line. And from Scandal, I am telling you, my top pick is definitely Scandal Absolute. Now here is the beautiful, beautiful bottle that we've come to recognize as the Scandal bottle. So you may recall when I hauled this, I think it was last year, and I immediately had a reaction of deep love because it is truly a fragrance that I really, really enjoy. This one is my favorite from this entire line. This is a fragrance that is very, very much around the note of tuberose. It opens with that tuberose, it will travel with that tuberose, and throughout the entire wear, you're going to pick up on that tuberose. But the thing about this tuberose is that, well, tuberose is a note that can go wrong because it can be bubblegummy and it can be quite strong and intense to the point of screechy. Here, although the tuberose is very present and this is quite an intense fragrance, the tuberose has been done very, very nicely and coupled exquisitely with a good bit of woody notes. The fragrance is definitely sweet. It has very much of a fruity quality to it. And I will also tell you that it does have a tad of an animalic quality to it, which in my opinion just adds quite a bit of character. But at the end of the day, this one is my favorite. And I do love the others, I really do, because this is just an exquisite scent. But here it has been done to perfection. And this is great for fall, winter, and the beginning of the spring for sure. So the next fragrance that I want to share with you is one that I'm not going to spend a lot of time on because I have discussed this fragrance here on the channel so many times, and I own every flanker, and every time they launch flanker, I do a comparison video for you. And I am speaking about Dolce & Gabbana Devotion. And here is the gorgeous, gorgeous bottle. Now, this is a fragrance that is quite addictive. I absolutely love it. To me, this is a full-on gourmand kind of fragrance because you are going to smell like food. Here, you're going to smell like a warm, buttery, with powdered sugar on top, kind of lemon pound cake. It is absolutely exquisite. Beautiful, beautiful fragrance. You know, some consider it to be a bit screechy because the lemony and tart accords are quite dominant in the fragrance. But for me and on my skin, it really is not screechy. I absolutely love this fragrance. As you can tell, you know how hard it is for me to have a dent in a fragrance, but this is one that I absolutely love and that I highly recommend. But this is really more for cool weather because this is beast mode for sure. So this is not one that you want to spray on a warm day whatsoever because you will choke yourself and all of those around you. Let us know if you've tried Devotion or if you own it, because I know many of you do, and your thoughts. The next fragrance that I want to share with you is another that I'm not going to spend a lot of time on because I just reviewed it recently here on the channel when I first picked it up a couple of months ago. And since then, I have featured it several times because it is truly one of my favorite vanilla-centric fragrances right now. And this one is La Vie est Belle, and this is Vanille Nude. And here is the gorgeous, absolutely gorgeous bottle. Now, this fragrance, as the name says it, is all about the note of vanilla. But at that, what I love about this fragrance is that it is such an easy pull type of fragrance for sure. There is no getting complicated about this, and this is not the type of vanilla that's going to make you smell like you're in the kitchen baking or doing anything with vanilla. This is an exquisitely done fragrance that, while having the note of vanilla as the centric note for sure and very dominant, it also has a bit of a floral presence to it, and it does have quite a bit of character. This is also a fragrance that will carry you all throughout the year. You could make it your signature scent. You could wear it for any occasion, day or night. You could wear it to the office. I am telling you, for any age, any occasion, beautiful, beautiful fragrance. The only thing is that to me, this is more of a feminine fragrance. But other than that, perfection for cool weather or any weather. Highly, highly recommend it. The next fragrance that I want to share with you is one that I haven't talked about in a little bit, and this one is from Balmain, and this is Carbone. Now, here is the beautiful, beautiful bottle. I just love these Balmain bottles. I just think that the design is so exquisitely done. So Carbone is a creation, by the way, of Quentin Bish. And I just love this fragrance, but what I really love to do with it is layer, because this is the kind of fragrance that you want to have, not just to use on its own because it's beautiful on its own, but it's the type of fragrance that whenever you feel that the scent that you're wearing is a little bit too frou-la-la or, doesn't have enough oomph and character to it, this is the fragrance that you want to layer with, and that will take that scent to the next level, making it have quite a bit of character and quite statement making. This is a beautiful, beautiful fragrance that is quite musky, but the musk here is a little bit animalic, which is actually what adds that additional layer of depth and character to the fragrance, in my opinion. It is quite woody. It has a very, very present rose note. It does have a powdery dry down, and this to me is more of like a leather rose kind of scent. This is very, very much unisex. It does not lean to the masculine or to the feminine side. But when I tell you that this is perfection for cooler weather, absolutely love it. The next fragrance that I have for you is not going to come as a surprise because you guys know how much I love this entire line. I own several bottles, and today I just want to share with you Valentino Donna Born in Roma, but this one is the Intense. Oh, look at this gorgeous bottle. I just absolutely love it. So the Intense to me is truly perfection for cooler weather. There are others that have been launched in the past that are also perfect. And I really, was really thinking of bringing on another one that wasn't this one, but I ended up bringing this one because number one, I think it's perfection, but it's also available. Sometimes, you can't find these fragrances, and I did not want to put you through that. So we're going to go with the Intense, which is perfection. This is a fragrance that is very, very ambery and has a ton of vanilla to it. At that, it has a white florals presence. It is a tad powdery at the dry down, and it is also a bit warm spicy. This fragrance to me is really more about that note of vanilla and that ambery quality of the scent overall that makes it perfection for cooler weather, specifically for like spring, opening of spring, fall, and winter. Let's know if you've tried or if you own the Donna Born & Roma Intense and your thoughts. All right, so this next one is the second one. When I shared with you before, I think it was Vert Malachite, I shared with you that fragrance, and it's from Armani Prive. And I told you that I was debating between two fragrances and I could not make up my mind. So I ended up adding both to this lineup. Well, this is the second one, and this one is Rose d'Arabie. And here is the gorgeous bottle. So Rose d'Arabie, as the name says it, is very much a rose-centric fragrance. But this is not your regular rose fragrance. This is truly a rose and oud combination type of fragrance. It's that scent profile truly. But this is a fragrance that has so much character to it. The oud has been done very nicely. It's not a smooth oud, which is actually what I love about it. This is truly for oud lovers because you're going to pick up on that oud. The oud is not barnyardish in any kind of way, but it is not like a smooth, barely pick up on type of oud. Oh no, this is an oud that you're definitely going to get because it's to the tune of a 3 to 4, where 5 is the most and 1 is the least. This is more of a 3 to 4, more 4 than 3. And this is also a fragrance that has the note of patchouli. The note of patchouli is very present. It is just exquisite. But at the dry down, you are going to get the most beautiful rose oud scent that is sweet with quite a bit of vanilla and a tad of creaminess to it on a backdrop of some woody notes. Now, there was no way that I was going to have this lineup and not include this next fragrance from Bulgari because it is truly an exceptional vanilla-centric fragrance. This is the type of fragrance that you definitely want to have in your collection. And this one is from Bulgari, as I said before, but this is Baciami. And here is the gorgeous bottle. So Baciami is definitely a fragrance that opens immediately with a very dominant and exquisitely yummy, without being gourmand, note of vanilla. It's going to immediately set the tone for you to know that this is truly a vanilla-centric fragrance with no doubt. This is a fragrance that also is to a certain extent a bit lactonic. It is very ambery, which is what makes it perfect for the seasons of fall, winter, and the beginning of spring. But for me, this is a fragrance that you could use all throughout the year. It's also one of those fragrances that I always tell you about that is very versatile because you can wear it for any occasion, day or night, dress it up, dress it down, take it to the office, whatever you want to do with it. This is just absolutely incredible. At the dry down, you are going to get a sweet scent that is a tad lactonic, where the vanilla is clearly the star. The fragrance does have a certain degree of yumminess to it, even though it is not a gourmand scent whatsoever or gourmandish, but it does have an inherent yumminess to it. But truly, this is a vanilla that if you are a vanilla lover, you need to add this to your collection. At least try it and you'll see what I mean. Let us know if you own Baciami and how do you feel about it. So the next fragrance that I want to share with you is one of my lifer fragrances. And this one is from Chanel, and this is Beige. And here is the gorgeous bottle. As you can see, this is a fragrance that gets quite a bit of use because when I tell you, this is an incredible scent. So here's the thing about Beige. Beige is a fragrance that you could pull all throughout the year because I do, okay? But the thing about this fragrance is that I've told you time and time again that the note of honey is not very easy to get right, in my opinion, in a fragrance. It can get a little bit funky, it can go totally wrong, but here, the note of honey has been done beautifully. And the thing about this fragrance is that, to my nose, it is such an exquisite blend of yellow and white florals. There's not one floral that really sticks out the most to my nose, but it is definitely a bouquet of white and yellow florals where the honey has been like sprinkled over it. There's other notes here and accords, but those are the only ones that have been disclosed. Some yellow, some white florals, if I recall correctly, and the note of honey. But I will tell you, the dominant note here is that honey, with a backdrop of those florals, which are still in the backdrop, but they're not faint in any way. Let us know if you've tried beige and your thoughts. So the next fragrance is a designer fragrance that, if you have this kind of lineup, in my opinion, and you do not include YSL Baby Cat, I would question it, right? So here is the beautiful bottle. And Baby Cat is your quintessential leather, smooth leather centric fragrance. This truly is a leather centric fragrance. It's a very nicely smooth done note, but at the end of the day, you have to enjoy the note of leather in order to really appreciate the beauty of this scent, because it is truly an exceptional fragrance. To me, this has got to be one of the best YSL fragrances, period, ever. It really is very, very special. It is a lifer for me within my designer collection, for sure. This is my second bottle. You know that whole story because we couldn't even get a hold of it. But this is truly an exceptional fragrance. Let us know if you've tried Baby Cat and what is it that you like about it? Because when I talk about it, typically I just focus on letting others know that this is really about leather, because if not, it may be like a shock, because the leather here, while smooth, it is very, very present. And there's also quite a bit of vanilla, which makes it perfection. Perfection for cooler weather. This is not one you want to pull on a warm or hot summer day. Now, this next designer fragrance is one that I absolutely love, but I do have to add a little bit of caution, but let's talk about it. So this one is from Celine, and this is Parade, and here is the gorgeous bottle. So the thing about Parade is that some would say, okay, Arahi, for cooler weather, really? To me, this is a fragrance that you could pull off all year, but I did add it to this lineup because for those of you that live like in Florida, here in the US, or anywhere in the world where it's not necessarily that you don't have seasons, but for the most part, your entire weather is like, it's very balanced. It's almost like the same all the time. It's not cold, cold. It's not hot, hot. So if you live in one of those regions, this fragrance is perfection for you, because this is one that you definitely want to consider making your signature scent. It is an exquisite scent that opens up very, very citrusy. There's a touch of like a green quality to the fragrance overall that I just can't even explain. It is very woody at the dry down, and it has a touch of earthiness to it that adds quite a bit of character. But this is really a fragrance that you just can't go wrong with. It is going to get you so many compliments, and you could use it for anything. Informal, formal, to the office, to workouts, whatever you want to use it for. This is a fragrance that will be there for you. And it is also a very, very easy pull. Let us know if you tried Parade from Celine, and what do you think? Do you think that this is a fragrance that someone could pull all throughout the year, or do you think that it's more like for, warmer or cooler weather? The next fragrance that I want to share with you is one that will not come as a surprise if you've been with me for a while, because I've talked about this fragrance here so much on the channel. And this is from Brunello Cucinelli, and this is Parfum. And here is the gorgeous, gorgeous fragrance. Oh, I absolutely love this scent. This is such an obsession for me. I absolutely love it. This is a fragrance that has some fruitiness to it, has some spiciness to it. It has a very, very interesting note of chestnut, which gives the fragrance at the dry down a bit of like a nutty quality. But at the dry down, you are definitely going to get a very woody with a touch of a floral presence kind of fragrance. This is a fragrance that you could definitely make your signature scent. The only thing I would not use it for, and that's just me personally, is for like a workout or any situation where I'm going to perspire, because this is very intense. But at the end of the day, this is such an exquisitely done scent that is just perfection for cooler weather. The next fragrance is one that does not even require an introduction because we are all so familiar with this fragrance, but I had to add it to the lineup because how could I not? And this one is from Burberry, and of course I'm talking about Goddess. And here is the gorgeous bottle. So Goddess is one of those designer fragrances that even if you're not into designer fragrances, you're probably going to end up owning it or at least trying it. This is very much a vanilla loaded kind of scent where the lavender also has a very strong presence. There's different flankers at this point, and I do own them all, but I did pull the original because to me it continues to be pretty much the best of all. But this is an incredible fragrance, and you just can't go wrong with any of the flankers in my opinion. It really depends on what are the notes that you really prefer from the OG, because those are the ones that have been emphasized in the others. In the most recent one, I think it's more vanilla. In the one before that, it was more about the lavender. And this one is all around just a very nicely balanced and perfect for cooler weather kind of fragrance. So this next fragrance is from Viktor and Rolf, and this one is Flower Bomb Extreme. And here is the gorgeous bottle. So Flower Bomb Extreme is the fragrance that made me reconsider and do, like a turnaround and come back to the Flower Bomb collection, because I had decided a long time ago that I was pretty much done with Flower Bomb. And there was one that was launched, I think, last year, the Tiger Lily. I absolutely love that one. But this one, when I tell you this is a fragrance that even if you never enjoyed the original Flower Bomb, this is one that you definitely want to get your nose on because you may be completely impressed. This is a fragrance that is very sweet. It has a very present and kind of dominant note of raspberry. And in addition to that, it has a ton of vanilla. But this is a fragrance that also has a certain degree of airiness. It does have a floral presence, but it's really not about the florals. It is really more, in my opinion, about that sweet scent that is very fruity with a ton of vanilla. It is just perfection. I tell you, if you have not tried Flower Bomb Extreme because you really didn't enjoy Flower Bomb to begin with, this is one that you definitely want to get your nose on at least, because you are most likely going to really enjoy it. Let us know if you've tried Flower Bomb Extreme or if you own it, and what do you like or you don't like about it. The next and last fragrance that I want to share with you will not come as a surprise if you've been with me for a while, because I have talked about this fragrance since its launch. I could not stop talking about it because it is truly incredible. It is truly exceptional. And this one is from Donna Karan, and this is Cashmere and Palo Santo. And here is the gorgeous bottle. Now, let me start by saying that these bottles are such a luxurious experience. Everything from the cap, which is, can you tell? It is magnetic. And the weight of the bottle itself, when you grab it, it is just a total luxury experience. But that just prepares you for the luxury experience of wearing any of these scents. At this point, I do own them all, and I can tell you that Cashmere and Palo Santo continues to be my number one, especially for a very cool kind of weather fit, because this is a fragrance that has woodiness, but it is very, very smooth. The woodiness is that Palo Santo, and you're going to pick up on it clearly. It has a ton of vanilla, and the fragrance itself opens sweet with a certain degree of fruitiness where you may, depending, pick up on the peach or not. But the peach is definitely one that I do pick up. Now, this fragrance is perfect for any occasion, day or night. It is just perfection. This one may also carry you throughout the year. For me, I think it is just perfection for cooler weather, but I would pull it for any season of the year, to be honest with you. This is perfection for a signature scent. You can dress it up, you can dress it down, and it is a fragrance that is just a delight to wear. Let us know if you were one of the fam members that picked up Cashmere and Palo Santo, and what has your experience been to date? All right, so the next and last fragrance, this is truly the last one that I have for you today, is from Jean Paul Gaultier, and this one is Divine but the Elixir. And let's take a moment to admire this incredibly beautiful bottle. So yes, this is another fragrance house where I had to include a couple of fragrances and not limit it to one, because there's several lines within Jean Paul Gaultier and I do enjoy them all so much, and I just could not leave Divine, because Divine is truly divine. Now, the perfumer behind this fragrance is Quentin Bish, and at that, this has been done exquisitely. This is the only fragrance that I have in my collection where there is such a strong marine presence in the opening and throughout the journey and the wear of the fragrance. The marine quality is so present that you almost can sniff like salt water, because it also has the note of salt. But at that, this is a fragrance that will carry you throughout the entire year. For me, this is an all-year fragrance. At that, it is also an incredible blend of like white and yellow florals. To me, I clearly pick up on the jasmine and the ylang-ylang, but at the dry down, you're not going to get any of that. You're just going to get that exquisitely beautiful floral scent that has quite a bit of vanilla. There's like a yumminess to it at the dry down too, courtesy of the note of tonka bean, and all on a backdrop of like a creamy woodiness that I think is coming from the patchouli. But all in all, this is a fragrance that I think is perfect, absolutely perfect, specifically for the seasons of fall, winter, and the opening of spring. This one, this flanker, is not one that I personally would pull on a warm summer day, but you could definitely wear it all throughout the year. At that, this is also a fragrance that I think is perfect for just about any age, for any occasion, day or night. And to me, it does lean definitely to the feminine side for sure. Anyway, let us know, what has your experience been with Divine Elixir? All right, so we've reached the end of today's video, and I hope that this was enjoyable for you. I know that it was quite the number of fragrances, but I wanted to make sure and give you a good mix of scent profiles, and also let you know, for these top 20 design houses, which one is my favorite from each line. You know, the lines that are most popular. These are for sure not all of my designer fragrances, they're really not, but these are definitely top picks when it comes to cooler weather. As always, thank you so much for hanging with me today, and I will see you all in the next video.